AI is faster, sharper, and more capable than ever before. But here's what no algorithm can do: understand your judgment, your values, your lived experience. While others chase prompts and shortcuts, the real advantage belongs to those who know their systems and know themselves. Because in the age of AI, the most powerful tool isn't the machine. It's the human who knows how to use it. You've probably heard the buzz: AI is here to change everything. Scroll through social media or the latest business articles, and you'll see the same pattern. On one hand, you get deeply technical discussions: models, parameters, algorithms, APIs. On the other, there's a wave of sales and marketing hype: 10x productivity, AI written copy that sells, prompt hacks that change everything. But here's what's missing: a grounded, thoughtful conversation about where AI can really create value. Because while sales and marketing matter, they're only a small part of how businesses actually run. Behind the scenes, value is created through long-term strategic thinking, planning, and executing coordinated economical operations that deliver products, including services, as the customer expected. This is the engine room of logistics and supply chains. And in that space, AI is not just useful, it can be very transformative, but only if you bring the right knowledge to the table.
Now here's the twist. Even in these powerful applications, AI can't replace you. Because good decisions, especially in logistics and supply chain management, don't come from data alone. It all begins with knowledge, deep, hard-earned human knowledge. The kind learned the old-fashioned way, through years of schooling, late nights studying alone, and teamwork under pressure. It's earned by sweating over textbooks and wrestling with difficult assignments, writing term papers, and more. But there's a twist. Traditional learning often leans toward rote memorization, studying for exams, only to forget much of it afterward. While this may seem inefficient, it can still lay the groundwork for acquiring skills on the job. And in the real world, it's skills that truly matter. What we're really talking about is tacit knowledge, knowledge that's hard to put into words, but that shows itself through action. Yet as you rise through the ranks, especially in management, the ability to talk about what you know becomes crucial. Being able to articulate your understanding, to reflect, to connect dots out loud, that's what enables effective planning in operations, logistics, sales, and across every function in a business. This is yet another skill, the ability and self-confidence to interact wisely at the management level. That kind of knowledge still has to be earned the old-fashioned way, through learning, reflection, and lived experience. It takes time. There are no real shortcuts, but we can begin here. By listening to this video, you're already on the path and you're accelerating your development in the right direction. But there is help. ASA, when used well, shortens the learning curve radically. Using generative AI like ChatGPT, it's dyadic teamwork with a surprisingly knowledgeable and fast-working teammate. Let's go back to that imbalance for a moment. If you only listen to social media, you'd think AI was built to automate branding, blogs, and social media posts. And sure, those are valid uses, but they only scratch the surface. AI can support a much broader range of business functions, especially the ones that drive real operational value. Think about demand forecasting, inventory planning, supplier selection, or transport routing. These are the functions that keep goods moving, customers satisfied, and systems resilient. But here's something important. The value of each function varies from business to business. In a manufacturer, procurement and logistics might be central. In a retail operation, inventory visibility and warehouse efficiency may matter most. And in a sustainability-driven company, carbon tracking or ethical sourcing might take priority.
So AI's real potential isn't just about what it can do. It's about how well you use it to support the business functions that matter most to you. Let's be clear, AI is brilliant at eliminating repetitive work. It can analyze data, predict demand patterns, optimize routes, and simulate scenarios in seconds. Tasks that once took hours now take moments. But those aren't strategic decisions. They don't understand values. They don't consider long-term consequences.
Take sourcing, for example. AI might flag a cheaper supplier with faster delivery, but does that supplier align with your quality standards? Are they resilient in a crisis? Do they fit your sustainability commitments? That's where your judgment comes in. AI shows you options, but only you can weigh what matters. And that's the point. AI doesn't make your knowledge obsolete. It makes it more essential. But the way you use that knowledge is evolving. The best professionals today aren't trying to outthink AI. They're learning to collaborate with it. They understand what AI can do: forecast, classify, summarize, simulate. And they know how to pair that with real-world business needs. In short, they know the system and they know how to talk to the machine.
Now let's clarify something. You don't need to understand how AI works on the inside. You don't need to code or study neural networks. For most professionals, AI will remain a black box. And that's okay. What you do need is to understand what it's good at and how to align that functionality with your goals. That's how AI becomes a decision support tool rather than just a cool feature. That pairing between AI's capability and your judgment is where real value happens. It's what turns automation into intelligence. But it takes more than just skills. It calls for a mindset and a strong ethical foundation, because fake doesn't last. It might get you through the door, but sooner or later, it's exposed. And when that happens, the social cost can be high. Real knowledge needs to be rooted deep in your character, in your core. That's what gives it strength and staying power. You have to think in systems about flows, bottlenecks, contingencies, trade-offs. You need to understand dependencies, delays, risks. And you need to know how to ask good questions, because a bad question still gets a fast answer, even if it's the wrong one. This is what it means to be fluent in AI, not technically, but functionally and strategically. The good news? You don't have to master this all at once.
You learn by interacting with generative AI through software like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. By asking questions, knowing how to write good prompts. And creating good prompts may be an iterative process between you and AI before you finally refine the question or topic. Science is by reflecting on what works and by letting the AI challenge your assumptions. This process builds a new kind of skill, a kind of intelligent curiosity. You see patterns faster. You test ideas more easily. You build solutions that are stronger because they've been stress tested in dialogue.
So, here's a practical takeaway. Don't start with AI. Start with your business. Know your supply chain. Know your logistics. Know your risks. Know your customers. AI will help you see that more clearly, but only if you've already done the work of understanding the foundations. That's where real power lies, not in the tool itself, but in the user. When the hype fades, what's left is execution. Warehouses, schedules, deliveries, returns, margins, customer promises. This is where AI belongs, not as a headline, but as a tool for professionals who think deeply, act responsibly, and lead with insight. Even if the system remains a black box, you're not in the dark. You are the light because you know the system. You understand what needs to happen. You bring the human perspective that AI can't replicate.
And here's the deeper layer. If knowledge is power, and AI extends that power, then what you choose to do with it matters deeply. Ethically. Because acting ethically means making decisions that are sustainable, not just for the moment, but for the long run. For you and for the organization you're part of. Organizations, in the end, are never fully opaque. Sooner or later, transparency breaks through, whether through audits, whistleblowers, public scrutiny, or internal reflection. That's why it's vital to avoid what might be called an emperor's new clothes situation.
You might know the story from Holberg's drama and the well-known fairy tale. A ruler is surrounded by people too afraid to speak the truth, each pretending to see magnificent clothes that don't exist. It takes a child's innocent honesty to reveal what everyone else refused to say: the emperor is wearing nothing at all. In business and professional life, the same dynamic can unfold. When truth is silenced, when ethical concerns are brushed aside for the sake of appearance, the entire system becomes vulnerable, and eventually, reality catches up. That's why integrity isn't just a virtue, it's a form of resilience. Therefore, we must encompass the big picture of how AI generates value.
Using AI in logistics isn't just about saving money or gaining speed. It's about making responsible choices. The supplier you choose, the route you optimize, the worker you replace or retain, the emissions you track or ignore. These decisions shape not just profits, but lives. They affect jobs. They influence sustainability. They shift economic realities. That's why deep human knowledge is not just important, it's essential. Because ethics can't be automated. Responsibility can't be outsourced. And strategy without reflection is just speed without direction. So yes, let AI help you move faster. But let your knowledge guide where you're going. That's not just smart business. That's responsible leadership.